Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Grand Prairie City Council meeting for Monday, June 11th, 2012. We'll start off our meeting with singing of our national anthem. Please, everyone, rise and join Council in singing O Canada. Thank you to the National Film Board of Canada for the images of our country and to our very own Grand Prairie Boys Choir for the audio. So that brings us to the adoption of the previous council meeting minutes. Can I have a motion for the previous council meeting minutes? Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move the minutes of the City Council meeting held May 28th, 2012 be adopted.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that set of minutes? Councillor Monroe?
Thanks, Mayor Given. Oops. Sorry, hang on. I'll hang it to the next motion. Cancel that, please.
No errors or omissions then. If there are no errors or omissions, then I would call for the vote to adopt that set of minutes. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Monroe, trying to help us with the adoption of the agenda.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I'll move that Council would adopt the agenda with one change, that being item 9.1. It indicates the Environment Committee meeting. It was already adopted on May 28th council meeting.
So the deletion of item 9.1?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Monroe. We will make that note. So any other changes to the agenda? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote on the agenda as amended. Thank you. And that motion carries. And that brings us to the delegation portion of our agenda. This is an opportunity for anybody in the community to come forward and address council on any community-related matter. This is a regular part of our agenda, and anyone is welcome to come and address council. But we did have notice of a delegation here today from the Grand Prairie Friendship Center. Ms. Benning, do you want to come forward and speak to council? Please come forward and introduce yourself, and please be welcome. Both just introduce yourselves for our recording secretary.
My name is Kelly Benning, and I'm the Executive Director at the Grand Prairie Friendship Center.
My name is Joseph Redhead. I'm the President of the Grand Prairie Friendship Center.
Welcome. Go ahead, Kelly.
So I've just prepared a bit to share with you. My name is Kelly Benning, and I'm the Executive Director of the Grand Prairie Friendship Center and elected Executive of the Alberta Native Friendship Center Association. With me here tonight is Joe Redhead, the President, the Grand Prairie Friendship Center Senator, Miriam Youngchief, who sits on the National Association, as well as many other elders, board members, staff, and community members. I just wanted to start out by saying that today is the 5th anniversary of the National Apology to Aboriginal Peoples of Canada for residential schools that took away our ability to take our rightful roles in our communities. Today, we are also talking about the Friendship Centre's role in providing services to homeless people in Grand Prairie, 61% of whom are Aboriginal. I had sent you all a 13-page document that was apparently too large for your council package, so I apologize that you don't have all the information before you. I will leave copies, though. I've made them. The Grand Prairie Friendship Centre has been addressing the needs of urban Aboriginal people and the citizens of Grand Prairie since 1964. We offer inclusive, all-encompassing programs to walk with people throughout their lives. The programs complete the circle. They are Baby's Best Start, offered throughout pregnancy to 3 years old, Aboriginal Head Start, which is a cultural preschool program for children 3 to 5 years old, Mama Wipitao, which is a family preservation and reunification program, summer groups for children 6 to 10 years old, youth groups for 10 to 24, the Grand Prairie Regional College Circle of Aboriginal Students, Aboriginal Diabetes Initiative, One Window Resource, which serves supper to 60 to 70 people twice a week, Project Home, which addresses homelessness, elders programs, and celebrations and events throughout the year. Today we're talking about Project Home. Friendship centres across Canada have been assisting people since the end of World War II to find housing, work, and overall adjusting to urban life. That is the foundation that the Grand Prairie Friendship Centre was built on. We formally began working with homelessness in 2004, and in 2008, we offered the City of Grand Prairie's first pilot project under the Housing First philosophy. It was then that Project Home was born, and the city declared the Grand Prairie Friendship Centre an essential service. Since then, the program has been very successful. 3 of our staff have been honored with the city's Compassionate Heart Award, and the feedback from the community and funders has all been positive. Excuse me. Recently, the city's Community Social Development Department introduced a new RFP process. They defined the criteria and boundaries for the process. The new and onerous and overwhelming, thank you, as well as confusing process was distributed and awarded through the city's purchasing department. Based on the new process, the Grand Prairie Friendship Centre was not put forward in the recommendations for funding. This decision came completely out of the blue, and we were not prepared for it in the least. We were told that the funding would end June 30th, and were assured that it had absolutely nothing to do with the service we were providing, that there were no questions or concerns with Project Home. The RFP process used, we do not feel, was successful in meeting the needs of the community for many reasons. There was not sufficient training for the new RFP. There was not efficient emphasis placed on the services currently offered throughout the city. The evaluation process is unclear. The chair of the selection committee stated that she was confused throughout the process. Council is voting on a process that they are not fully educated on, nor are they familiar with. We were originally told that there was no appeal process. Then we were told that there was, and then we were given 2 different dates for the appeal. The appeal is scheduled for June 25th, and funding ends June 30th. The program is scheduled to end in 14 business days, and we have not been contacted with a transition plan. Our clients are scheduled to have new workers in different agencies, and we can't even tell them where or who they will be working with. Is there really an appeal process if the turnaround time is less than 4 days? None of the agencies that were put forward to receive funds are based in Aboriginal culture. Part of the homeless funds have been earmarked for Aboriginal programming. Aboriginal culture is not something to be learned in policy manuals and cannot be effectively infused into agencies just because their proposal says it can be. Aboriginal culture cannot be replicated and reproduced and sold to the best proposal. Project Home is a successful program. It is the only Aboriginal housing program in the city. Last year, when our elder went to the other agencies to offer her support to clients, nobody came and visited with her. Rather, they phoned the Friendship Center and asked us to send her back home so they could visit with her where they were comfortable. They did not want to visit with her in the other agencies. We have over 800 signed letters of support for Project Home to continue, and have however many people came out tonight. Thank you all for coming. Hear their voice. Listen to what it is they have to say. Today, as I said, is a commemorative day. Take heed to the apology and let us, as Aboriginal people, take care of our community. Do not decide for us what we need. Let us be our own solution. Vote no to this funding recommendation. When we're done here tonight, we're going to go and smoke the pipe, and I talked to the mayor this morning, and he would like to join us in a pipe ceremony on the 20th. And everybody else is welcome to come back to the community center too. So that's basically my presentation. Spill my water all over.
Thanks very much, Ms. Benning. Great presentation. There's an opportunity for council members that might have some questions about your presentation to ask questions, and I do see at least one person in our lineup here, Councillor Rice.
Kelly, how much were you funded last year?
Last year we were funded just shy of $290,000.
290,000. And how long have you been funded like this?
Since 2009.
Okay, was there ever, when you started the funding, was it intended to be seed money, like, I mean, go down each year to, as you become self-sufficient, or was the program always designed as a help program?
Okay. I'm sorry, I misanswered you. That hasn't been our budget since we started. When we started with one client, so of course our budget was much different. Project Home, the philosophy for the Housing First model, it has a 10-year plan to it, and we're part of that.
Keep
So I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Is the plan, is the intent of the plan to grow each year, or is it to reduce funding each year to become self-sufficient?
I believe that by the end of the 10 years that the province has a goal in place that homelessness will not be an issue in Alberta. That's the provincial goal.
Okay, thank you.
I do see others in the queue. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Hi, Kelly. Hi,
Hi.
Joe. Couple of questions I have is, this is a brand new process, the RFP. So for what I'm getting is, you're kind of were caught off on it a little bit, not used to it because it was brought in brand new. But the other question I had, there was a committee, and that's what gets me, that there's some good organizations here that were picked, Salvation and Canadian Mental Health. How much, it was 290,000 was last year, is what you're saying? And where do we go, like on that committee that picked, another thing I was brought to my attention, there was 8 volunteers, so nobody that was voting, but the chair worked, like, I wasn't at that committee, so there was 8 that are volunteer on the committee that picked this selection. Is, like, do you know that process more?
From what I understand, there was the selection committee, and it had a chair, and I believe they were volunteers. I also know that the Community Social Development Department was a part of that committee as well, that the staff were, that they drove the process.
And just one more question. Was this directed by the provincial government to go this route for the RFP?
I believe that the provincial and federal governments did direct to do an RFP process. However, the Community Social Development Department was responsible for designing it and setting up the evaluation criteria.
Okay.
So the City of Grand Prairie is responsible for that. And I do know that the supervisor of the program did tell me that not every city put in the criteria that your past work couldn't be a part of the process, but that Grand Prairie had chosen to do that.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, I see a few others. Councillor Gustafson.
Thanks, Mayor Given. And thank you guys for coming tonight. I recently attended the youth conference at the college with some of you,
Yes.
some of you guys here, and I really enjoyed my time there. I have to apologize. I don't know a whole lot about your organization. However, I have known of it since I was a young kid. I actually attended it back when it was on 96th Street years and years ago. So, but I do have a couple questions. So, what's your annual budget per year
For housing or the overall Friendship Center?
Overall?
Oh, where's Bertha when I need her? It's about $1.5 million, I believe.
Okay. And how many volunteers do you guys have in your group?
Oh, a few hundred when you consider all our programs together.
So if you were to put a rate on those few hundred people, it would be,
Oh.
your budget could
There is
increase
no way
substantially.
we could offer anywhere near the programs that we offer without volunteers.
Yes.
Most of the hours spent in programs are through volunteer hours, through the community and our staff. They don't get paid for most of the hours they work.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate those volunteers, that's for sure. Do you know how much annual fundraising you do, how much fundraising you do annually?
No, I'm sorry, I don't. I don't know the number for that.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Rice, you had something else?
I have. How many people are housed with that 290,000? And do you supplement it at all? Is that the whole housing budget? Question number one. Question two is how many people are housed? Question three is what would happen to them?
Okay. That is the whole housing budget.
Okay.
The program is really offset by our One Window resource, which is funded through Alberta Health Services. And that's who funds the suppers that we do twice a week, as well as a community outreach worker who does referrals and so on to different places in the community. I'm sorry, what else did you ask me?
It's always hard when they come in threes.
Okay, and I'll maybe shift my questions a bit. Who do the people who live in that housing program, do they pay anything? What would happen to them with the funding withdrawn?
Okay, so we don't own any properties that people live in. We help people make changes in their life so they can move into a place. Like we're responsible to help them find
So
housing.
it's community integration?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And our success rate, I think, is really quite high. Each worker houses at least 6 chronically homeless people per year. And they're successful. Like right now, they're on their second year of living in their own apartment and staying housed.
Would any of them have leases that they might be in the middle of?
Our clients? Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think
And how would they be affected? Sorry, I just remembered the other part of your question. Did you
That's-
want to
yeah.
talk?
No.
No?
It's just-
How would they be affected? They'd be affected dramatically. Like it's been a really
Yeah. Traumatic, I'm seeing, okay.
process.
Yep.
You know, like even our suppers and everything have been so emotional because
Okay. All right.
the people that we support don't know what their fate is, and they're afraid. They're afraid to leave the Friendship Center, and we can't even really console them with where they're going because there are 3 agencies that got funding, but we don't know which of our clients are going where and when, and we know it's before the 30th. And as Aboriginal people, they don't have that base, that understanding, that home, some place they can walk into and it's okay.
One more question, if I may. Now, the 3 agencies that got funded, are they agencies that have been in Grand Prairie and operated for a while?
Yeah.
And were there any of the agencies that have not done housing programs prior to this?
Maybe if I'll just interrupt. Maybe Councillor Rice, that'd be more appropriate for administration when we
Oh,
actually get to the
okay.
agenda items. We'll
Okay.
let the Friendship
Okay.
Center speak about their position and their program, and we'll ask administration if we
Okay.
need details on other people's programs. I do see somebody else. Councillor Radburn?
Thank you, Mayor Given. Good evening, everyone. My question probably is to admin, so Mayor, my question is, why are we making this decision if there is an appeal process to come? So I don't know if that's appropriate to ask somebody now, or when.
Maybe I'll, just in interest of fairness, we'll save that until later
Okay.
on when the agenda comes up, and we can have council talk to administration, since this is an opportunity for council to ask questions of the delegation. So are there any other
Can
questions?
I
for the
comment on
delegation?
that?
Sure, I suppose now that you've heard it. You bet.
Okay. I don't have the answer, I just have a comment. The appeal is due June 25th. Funding is scheduled to be done June 30th. We really felt that we needed to share our concerns before then, because that's a 4-day turnaround. And so, yeah, that's why we're here before then.
If there weren't any other council members that had a question, there was one that I'm not sure that I heard in your presentation. How many staff members work in the housing program?
There are four
There are 4?
permanent, like full-time staff, yes.
Okay.
The team
And-
lead and 3 outreach workers.
And so do each of those folks work with, you said about 6, they're responsible for housing 6 clients?
Well, they have a bigger caseload than 6, but they exit about 6 into successful housing
Per year.
per year, on
Okay.
average, yeah,
Okay.
each.
That's great, thank you. If there weren't any further questions from council members, then is there anything else that you'd like to say to wrap up?
I really hope that you guys follow your hearts and make a good decision, and let us play our role in the community.
Okay.
And I'll leave for you the documents that couldn't be circulated
Sure.
through email. And
If you'd like,
Here
Ms. Fanning,
is,
you can
um,
actually leave them with the legislative services manager there on the corner that was helping
Okay.
everybody find seats, and she'll make sure that they're circulated. to
do I
council.
leave these 850 letters too? with her?
That would be the person.
Okay.
You bet.
Joe will carry it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for being here today. So as I said, this is the delegation portion of our council agenda. This is an opportunity for anybody to come forward and address council on any community-related matter. We'd just like to make that clear. We certainly have heard the presentation from the Friendship Center and thank them for that. And we'd recognize everybody that's here in support of the Friendship Center. We appreciate you all coming down. No matter what the issue, we appreciate when our council chambers is full. It means the community is passionate about something, and we appreciate seeing that. Is there anybody that would like to come forward and address council on any other community-related matter? And yeah. If you'd like to say something, you come to the chair and introduce yourself. Please have a seat and introduce yourself for our recording secretary.
Howie, I just wanted to make it clear that we don't just deal with Aboriginal housing. We're open to everyone. And we do have clients from across the spectrum of people. Although it seems like we've got a lot of Aboriginals here, we're open to everybody, even me.
Thanks very much, Ms. Howard. Okay, if there was nobody else that wanted to come forward to present to council, then we'd move on. Everyone is welcome to stay. We will be dealing with the items that the Friendship Center delegation was speaking about as items 9.5.2 and 9.5.3 on our agenda. So we will be dealing with them one way or another tonight. You're welcome to stay and see the discussion and debate, but you're also welcome to leave. We appreciate the fact that you were able to attend tonight. And we'll move on to the public hearing portion of our agenda. So there is somebody else that would like to come forward and address council? Sure. Please come forward, have a seat at the table. Just introduce yourself so we can make sure that we have your name.
Okay. My name is Lynn Maple. I am the team lead for Project Home. I would just like to say thank you for having us all here and able to speak on the Friendship Center. I work with a lot of the street people, and it is hard for them to go to, if they're Aboriginal, to go to a non-Aboriginal agency in order to be heard and not be judged. So please consider that when you're making your decision. Thank you.
Thanks very much for being here. Okay. just to be sure, I'll call one more time. Is there anybody else that would like to address council? Because we're going to move on to our agenda. We have other agenda items. Okay, sure. Come on forward. Make sure that you introduce yourself for our records. Have a seat and please be welcome.
Hi, my name is Jordan Maple. I'm her son. Last couple of weekends, I've been going out to the grad camp out. They've been supporting all of us students that go to the comp, St. Joe's, and all that kind of thing. They do it without real much asking for anything in return. We go over there, we help them out as much as we can, even though we don't do that much. We, just teenagers, anybody really, we all just go over there, and we greatly appreciate them just knowing that we can go have some place to go. That's basically it. Just if we need help, we go there. There's not much else places that we can go. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. No, that's excellent. Thanks very much for coming. Okay, and one last time. Sure, come on forward. Again, please make sure that you introduce yourself so that we have your name for our minutes.
I'm Robert Macintosh. I've been with the Friendship Center for quite a few years, through Rocky Mountain House and through Grand Prairie since I moved here. They've helped me get home, but one thing I found is once a lot of us people find these homes, they're illegal boarding houses. They run us on, they take our money and tell us to get out. I would like the town to do something about these illegal boarding houses because they're causing more homeless problems than solving them.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm looking out to the crowd, and I don't see anybody else coming forward, so we're going to move on in our agenda. We'll close the delegation portion of the agenda, and we'll move on to item 6.1, public hearings. And we had bylaw C1237B to amend the municipal development plan. Maybe I could have an introduction from administration, Mr. McIntyre.
Mayor, given bylaw C1237B is an amendment to the municipal development plan to reinforce council's position on promoting barrier-free access to city services and facilities. The recommendation is that the bylaw C1237B be given second and third reading. First reading occurred on May 14th. In terms of background, Public Works Committee on January 24th of this year received a report on handicap accessibility. The Public Works Committee subsequently directed administration to prepare and bring back an amendment to the MDP to incorporate a council goal and policy to promote accessibility for all persons. The city is committed to providing barrier-free access to all new city facilities, such as the East Link Center. The purpose of this proposed amendment is to reaffirm this position, and the amendment also commits the city to proactively seeking out and removing barriers to access at existing facilities. For example, those facilities and buildings that were built prior to the requirements for accessibility under the current code. I can just read through very quickly the text of the bylaw amendment, and the intent is to add to the MDP under Section 12 goals to ensure that all persons with disabilities have barrier-free access to city services and facilities, and adding a new Section 12.10 barrier-free access. The city will establish, one, a process to identify the barriers that prevent equal access to existing city services and facilities. Secondly, continually improve the accessibility of city services and facilities. And thirdly, actively encourage input from all segments of the community in the design and operation of all new as well as renovated city services and facilities.
Thanks very much, Mr. McIntyre.
You're welcome, Mayor Given.
Any questions for administration? Seeing none, are there anybody who'd like to make a presentation in favor of the proposed change? Is there any? Sure, please. If you'd be able to make your way up, I see Mika's there, and we'd be happy to make some room and to have you come forward. If you could just say your name for our minutes.
My name is Maureen Kennedy, and I see that you have put new sidewalks in and tried to, upgrade the city. I know it's a big cost to everybody, but I find it's a real challenge in this city to even, I come here today in the wheelchair because I couldn't get the handy bus. I didn't book it ahead, right? And the sidewalks are, I know you're looking at it, I know there's things, but there's also brand-new sidewalks that have been put in that I don't know who's directing them, but they have people going into traffic instead of keeping them out of traffic. And when I go through town, I have to ride on the road more than I ride on the sidewalks, and nobody looks for anybody short. And that's a real safety concern. The new lights, I have seen the new lights. One was kicked off all last year, so I had to go all the way around the block to come back again. The new ones are excellent. You just barely touch them, they work. The rest of them, you got to drill your finger in there, and you can't get in close enough because they put boulders beside the posts. And there's just lots of little things that I don't know where all the handicapped people are that use the city sidewalks. I don't think they go very far, I'm not too sure, but I'm a traveling wheelbarrow. I like to go anywhere and everywhere. And I would just like to, on my travels, I would like to write down and address it to the city, and maybe their engineers can come see how really bad it is. Because they are brand new sidewalks, you are improving them, I see that. But, the slopes that, I don't know if you're at the barrier-free day, I know some of you were, and they had challenge getting onto the sidewalk. And it's, I don't know what else to say, because I know you guys are funding, I know you are looking, I know you have changed it. I know there's a brand-new sidewalk out here that you guys just put in. That's real danger. That's real danger. That sidewalk going from here to the library. About 3 times I just about got wiped out there. Tonight I just about got wiped out because nobody looks for anybody small. I understand that. No, I don't have a flag above my head that annoys me when I go. But so I don't know what else to say.
No, that's excellent. Thank you very much for your presentation. The change that we're proposing today is to the city's overall document that basically says how we're going to try and develop the city over time. And it's the city making a commitment to trying to identify those types of barriers. So we appreciate your support for that. And I think we also appreciate your offer of help in identifying the biggest challenges that you have. I know that myself and Councillor O'Toole and Councillor Wong participated in the Cheerleaders Day, and we certainly saw a different perspective. So thank you for that offer, and I think maybe through CPA, if that's appropriate, we could get in touch with you because we may be able to find I'm thinking of a technology that we have that might be really good for identifying those types of concerns. But is there anybody that has any questions for the delegation? Councillor O'Toole?
Yes. Thanks very much, Mayor Given, and thank you very much for showing up tonight and speaking your piece. I was one of those people that was in a chair for the day, and I've had my eyes opened up, and I almost got wiped out too. So we totally, all 3 of us that were attended, totally understand your concerns of how to get around in this town, and sometimes able-bodied people don't understand that. And to put in a chair for 4 hours, 6 hours, it was a real challenge, and I appreciate it. And we have talked amongst the 3 of us on some of the things that we'd like to see improved around this area. So we're working for you. It may take a day or 2, but we're working for you.
Is there anybody brave enough to spend an hour or 2 with me to come from my home to downtown just to see the challenges that I have come across with improvements from the city? I know it's a lot to ask from somebody, but to ride an electric wheelchair, I live on 123rd Avenue, and I come down and around, and just to see some of the challenges that I experience and other people experience that do, because, you know, the grocery store is right there, right? And you booked a handy bus to go to the grocery store to pick up some milk. In the summertime, you know, could I challenge anybody, not challenge, could I ask anybody to spend an hour coming from my house to the city hall just to see the improvements that have been made and how they're improvement, but they're really, like, they could be better. Like, they're a brand new sidewalk, but they're not, you know,
They're not the best thing?
yeah, exactly, but there's so many multiple things wrong that I can't sit here and talk all night about it. If I could show somebody, if I could just show somebody how we have to ride into the traffic, how we have to come out into the traffic to get onto the sidewalk, which is a brand-new sidewalk that curves this way, and you're in traffic. And not everybody is kind, you know, they'll take that spot if they can. It's time, everything's a time matter in this thing. But I would leave that open to anybody that would like to join me for an hour. You can get a hold of Mika, and if anybody is up to the challenge. Because I know you spent the day in a manual chair, you went on the handy bus, we went to the restaurant, you came back here, you got in your vehicle, you came to work for the day in a safe environment. You were in your office. Please come into the public with me and just see what we actually face.
So I'll just speak on behalf of the folks that participated in Chair Leader. I know Councillor O'Toole took his chair to the Wapiti Shooters firing range. Councillor Wong and I both went down to Grand Prairie Co-op from City Hall and back. And Councillor Wong also took his chair to work, which is in another building that's on the other side of the railway tracks, which he said was pretty frustrating. You know what? I think the city, and I know that myself and if not somebody from council, somebody from administration, would be more than happy to hear the specific issues that you've identified. And I think the motion that we're speaking about is that the city wants to develop an appropriate forum so that users of the city streets and all of our other facilities can give us that type of direct feedback about the specific things that they see. So we're going to make sure that we do contact Mika and get in touch with you and involve you in that process.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
I see Councillor Radburn also has a question though as well.
Thank you, Mayor Given, and good evening and welcome, and thank you for coming. I guess I wanted to reiterate what Mayor Given had to say. I think this amendment to the Municipal Development Plan is one of our most important documents that we have. And so this change really tells everybody that we want to and will do better. So you're reinforcing that we need some improvement, and this document actually is saying that, and also saying that we're going to talk to people in the know to help us do better. So, but my question is there anything that we're doing better? You alluded to some improvements. Do you see some things happening that you think are good in terms of accessibility?
Accessibility, well, that's always a chore. Some doors don't work. They don't turn the power on when you go in the door. Just little things like that. City, this City Hall, well, doors open up and you come in, right? What I have seen is the push the button to go across the street, because I do not move until I see the little man walk. And that's taking your life in your hands. Some of them are placed over here. You can't reach them. You gotta, ride over here, and there happens to be a big hole there. Like, I have flipped a wheelchair in a hole that looked like water, but it was a hole, trying to get to where I was supposed to go. But the new little buttons that you got, that you're installing, are the best things that I have seen. I have seen 3 of them so far in my travels, and they're excellent, because you don't have to drill your finger in there. You can just go like that, and it beeps, and away you go. I have seen that. The railroad track coming down by Audio Concept, for some reason, it sort of backfired. Now you go up like this, they put tar there, you go up over the railroad track, you come down, well, it's all chipped away there. And before you just went across, right, bump, bump, bump. So that was a tried improvement, but it
Didn't work
backfired.
out, okay. Okay.
And just little things like that. It's mainly trying to get the light standards. Like someone said, take a stick with you. Well, I can take a stick with me, but if the button's on this side, I'm sorry. You know, little things like that. But that's one of the biggest improvements I've seen.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see anybody else in the queue to ask questions, so thank you very much for your presentation. I see that our Director of Planning has passed on his card, and so you can certainly be in contact with him. I know that many members of our city staff would be interested in hearing what you have to say and about your specific concerns.
Okay, thank you very much for listening to me.
No
You guys
problem.
have a
Thank
good
you very
night.
much for being here. Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward to speak in support of the amendments? The proposed amendments? Seeing no one, is there anyone who would like to come forward to speak in opposition to the proposed amendment? I don't see anybody come forward. I'll ask one more time. Is there anybody who'd like to come forward to speak to the proposed amendment to the municipal development plan? Seeing none, I'd give council one last opportunity for questions. If anybody had questions for administration. Councillor Rice.
I'm just wondering, I like the motion reaffirming our commitment to providing barrier-free access. I'm just wondering if we should be tabling part of the amendment that is the part to remove barriers at existing facilities and referring that to the budget process. Getting the finding out where the obstacles are. And then factoring them into the budget is an excellent step forward. But I don't like to pass a motion that we can't accomplish.
Okay, so at this point, so is that, so at this point, we're talking about the amendments to the municipal development plan. So, Mr. McIntyre, does this commit council to accomplishing anything at any specific point, or is it basically a statement of the ongoing direction that we're going to take? Mr. McIntyre?
Mayor, given it's a statement of intent. Yeah, I think I'm on. The policy is a statement of council's intention to make this a goal to achieve. All policy action items are dependent ultimately on the outcome of your business planning process, so your budgeting, 3-year budgeting cycle, and the extent to which specific changes are made or accommodated are usually tied to that process. So I guess to answer your question, it's basically a statement of principle that this is an important goal to council, but it's not binding to the extent that if it's not accomplished, or it's not, time dependent in your MDP.
But it says here it commits the city.
Yeah, I was just going to be clear. What we're actually voting on is, and we'll do it through a couple of readings, because this is a change to, it's a bylaw change, municipal development plan. So what we're actually reading, and this is in council's packet, what we're actually approving is the change to the bylaw.
Agenda, yeah.
So I think what's in the council package that you're referring to as a recommendation is really background information.
Okay.
So we're not moving that as a motion. What we're moving is second and third reading of bylaw C 1237.
So the word commit is not
Well,
included in the
is-
draft.
In the draft bylaw, it says, adding section 12.10, the city will establish a process to identify the barriers that prevent equal access to existing city services and facilities. Will establish a process is the key factor there. Continually improve the accessibility of city services and facilities, and actively encourage input from all segments of the community in the design and operation of all new and renovated services and facilities.
Okay.
So significantly different than what you're maybe reading from the
Yeah.
council agenda
Thank you.
package. Okay, if there were no further questions for administration, Councillor Radburn?
Thank you, Mayor. I would, if I may now.
Well, if this isn't a question, then
This is the motion.
this is the motion. Yep, so
Whenever
then
you're-
I'll close the public hearing. One step that we have to take, and we'll move on to business arising from the public hearing, and Councillor Radburn.
Thank you. I would move the council give bylaw C1237B to amend the municipal development plan, second reading.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on second reading? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Radburn, do you want to do that?
Certainly, thank you.
Third reading?
I'd move council give bylaw C1237B to amend the municipal development plan, third reading.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on third reading? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. And that finishes our public hearings, and we'll move on to unfinished business, of which we had none from last meeting, reports, of which we had none. And that brings us item 9.1, the Combative Sports Commission. Councillor O'Toole, you care to handle that set of minutes?
Yes, thank you much, Mayor Given. We did have, I'd like the council to receive the minutes of the Combative Sports Commission meeting held on May 28, 2012.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Did anyone note any errors or omissions in that set of minutes? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor O'Toole, anything that you care to highlight from that set of minutes?
Just we reviewed some of the bylaws and amendments to this Combative Sports Commission, and basically it was clarifying some ambiguous sections. So.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Then we move on to the Special Public Works Committee meeting. Excuse me, Councillor Radburn, a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Given. Kevin, I was just wondering about the replacement of a public member. Is that in the works? Do you need to do that?
Yes, we are looking into that, and there's a process taking place, and we should have that looked after here by the time, probably in the next month or so.
Good, thank you.
Thanks very much. So we'll move on to the Special Public Works Committee meeting from May 28th. Councillor Gustafson, I believe that was you.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'll move that council receive the minutes of the Special Public Works Committee meeting held May 28th, 2012.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Gustafson, do you want to move on to 9.3?
Yes, sir. Thank you much, Mayor Given. I'll move that council receive the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting held May 29th, 2012.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Did anyone note any errors or omissions on that set of minutes? Seeing none, I call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Any items that you wanted to highlight from either of those sets of minutes, Councillor Gustafson?
Yes, sir, Mayor Given. We approved a wind energy conversion system, which is a technical name for a wind turbine. It will be the first one in Grand Prairie, and all wind energy conversion system applications are discretionary, and this is the first application of its kind in Grand Prairie received. And we had a brief discussion about the entrance features, neighborhood entrance features, and we finished out our day with a quick conversation on the 92nd Street functional study that's taking place there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Gustafson. So move on to item 9.4, the 100th Anniversary Committee. Councillor Rice, would you care to handle that set of minutes for us?
I move that council receive the minutes of the 100th Anniversary Committee meeting held Tuesday, May 29th.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any discussion on that set of minutes? Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Rice, anything you want to highlight from
I
this
just want
meeting?
to make council aware that we have issued an RFP on the history book. This history book will incorporate oral history and video components to augment the book. It's the feeling of the committee that this will make the project sustainable beyond the anniversary year, so it's very exciting. Also, the committee was unanimous in choosing the logo for the 100th anniversary. We felt that the city had put a lot of time into choosing their new brand, And so what the committee determined to do is enhance the current logo by adding 1914 to 2014 above the existing brand and 100 years below it. So we're having some drawings done up, but we will enhance just our brand that we picked for the logo for the 100th anniversary. And that's it.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Rice. That'll move us on to 9.5, Community Development Committee. Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Thank you, Mayor Given. I move the council receive the minutes of the Community Development Committee meeting held May 29, 2012.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion on that set of minutes? Anyone note any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Crokin.
Okay, I also move that council allocate $100,000 from the 07/08 municipal block funding to a reserve for the purchase of land for low-cost affordable housing.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Rice.
I'm following Councillor Radburn's lead. The next 9.6, all the items 9.6 to 6.1 to 9.6.3 all deal with the homelessness fund. I guess Alderman Radburn's question, why are we dealing with this if there's an appeal process? And while I realize this is for the purchase of land, it seems to me the whole fund should be frozen if there's an appeal process.
Okay, just to speak to that, 9.5.2 and 9.5.3, I believe are more the items at issue. 9.5.1 is leftover capital dollars. And this was from a grant that was given out to an organization that couldn't fulfill their, didn't build anything. And so the money came back to the city, and now we're deciding what to do with the money. This is specifically capital dollars and is not related to the issue that the Friendship Center raised at all.
Okay.
Or any new, I mean, these are 2007, 2008 dollars that we're talking about that failed to be used in the community. And now it's up to council to choose where they go back to.
If it's going into a reserve, could it be moved out of that reserve at any time? Or used out of that reserve at any time?
As long as it's for creating new affordable housing, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'll be voting against this. When we had the committee CDC, I was for using the money now for getting people in homes. I don't like putting it into reserve and then someday down the road we'll make it work. And as we see tonight, I know it's a separate than the agenda with the Friendship Center, but it shows that maybe the money can be used differently depending on how the appeal process goes or whatever. So I urge council to vote against this and put the money on hold until maybe we may have to allocate it differently. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Councillor Crokin.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Gibbon. I understand your feelings, Councillor McLean, but we also were very successful with the program that we were a flow-through money for the province. And we did have 74 $20,000 grants that did put homes in the hands of the needy. So this 100,000 is going to be going into a pool that we're feeling that if we could put it into a bigger pool, we could maybe help 10 families, 12 families, 14 families. So it's not going to be lost.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Crokin. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Thank you, Councillor Crokin, for that. And I do hear where you're coming from, but as well, we're building a new 80 unit across from the Catholic Church for homelessness that's not available yet, but it's in the process. And so nothing's happening immediately, like it's going to come, and this could be in a reserve. I understand you can get more maybe down the road, but I think there'd be more help now with the money.
Okay, Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I will be supporting the motion, and I encourage my colleagues to do so. I just feel that we have a dearth. We have very little city-owned land to support as partners affordable housing, whether it be seniors or whatever. I'm involved in a committee that's looking for some land to provide seniors housing. And we don't have much flexibility. So this, to me, puts the money together that over time, we will build up and we'll be able to be true partners in a project, as Councillor Crokin has suggested, that will meet the needs of a great number of people who need it. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries with one opposed. And we'll move on to item 9.5.2, Community Homelessness Initiative. Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move that council award funding as per RFP-17-431-12-HPS based on funding allocations for the 2012-2013 year for a 21-month contract from July 1st, 2012 to March 31st, 2014 for a total of $405,090 excluding GST to the Canadian Mental Health Association.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. So open for discussion or debate. Councillor Radburn? And sorry, Councillor Radburn, I'll just break in. Also, there was a point where a couple of folks had questions for administration, and so this will be our opportunity to do that on this and the following item. Councillor Radburn.
I have three questions initially, if I might, for administration. First of all, as I asked our presenter, why is council dealing with this before an appeal process has been undertaken? So I'm not critical of the delegation at all. I'm wondering why this is on our agenda if there's an appeal to come. So that's question number one.
Okay, for administration, Director of Community Services, Mr. Roth.
Your Worship, as I understand it, the appeal process is only to file an appeal on whether the process was correct or not. It's not to appeal whether the RFP or the contract should be awarded at this particular time. It's only if there's an issue around the process pertaining to leading up to the RFP. It is a requirement, a purchasing requirement that is required by law that we have to make available.
Councillor Radburn.
Thank you. My second question is it indeed correct that that past performance was not used as a criteria in the evaluation of RFPs?
Mr. Roth.
Your Worship, actually that is not correct. I have a copy of the evaluation criteria here in front of me, and one of the sections relates to past performance. It specifically talks about relevant experience and performance of case management with individuals and families. Very specific, and there's a degree of points that were awarded for that.
Thank you. And for now, one other one that might be useful for us all. I don't know if it's for the city manager or Gary or whomever, but what are the implications of us defeating this motion? What would happen if this motion is defeated?
Mr. Roth. There
are three other organizations who are looking to move forward with affordable housing initiatives and projects. What happens?
I guess there are two motions that are related to a similar issue. If one were to be defeated and one were to pass, then we would have to reissue the RFP on the defeated portions, which would take a considerable amount of time. Bearing in mind that the RFP process is required to go through for these particular types of funding, it certainly is one of those issues that adds to the time frame that it would take to fill it.
But did I hear correctly, then that would mean a reissuing of the RFP. Is that our understanding from administration?
Mr. Roth?
That's my understanding as well.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Rice.
Well, I can certainly understand why the delegation is frustrated and confused, because I am too. There's an appeal process that's not really an appeal process, and all you can do is go in and complain that our process was lousy, but it won't do you any good when the end of the day. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's an appeal process or it's not an appeal process. I guess that's I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but so I'll just say that what I would do, and in case anybody else wants to speak, I believe these two, 9.6.2 and 9.6.3, has to be tabled back to the committee. This is in my opinion, this is a mess. So I believe it has to be taken back, it has to be looked at. I believe council has to take a look at the rules the province set out and how we interpreted them. So I won't make that motion yet because other people may want to speak, but that certainly is what I believe needs to happen.
Okay, so discussion debate. If I could, Mr. Roth, if I could ask a question. We have the two different items. One is the Federal Homelessness Partnering Strategy, and the other one is Outreach and Support Services Initiative. Can you clarify for me what the difference is between the two, Mr. Roth?
Essentially, they're two different funding sources for similar types of programming, one coming from the federal government, one coming from the province. One of the differences is that the federal government specifically has criteria that it has to provide or meet needs to Aboriginal people. And certainly that is one of the part of the evaluation criteria that that was looked at in terms of evaluating the proposals.
Okay. So so it was the federal, so both of the funds could be used for similar types of programs?
That is correct.
And the federal funding, though, had a specific priority on Aboriginal funding?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that I had them straight in my mind. Thank you. Councillor Gustafson?
Thank you, Mayor Given. I just wanted to comment that I'll be jumping on Helen's bus today.
Okay. Councillor Monroe?
Thanks, Mayor Given. I would tend to agree with Councillor Gustafson and Councillor Rice that it really feels like we need more information as to how these funds were reviewed through the RFP process, and I would be in full support of taking a closer look at it before we make any final decision.
Okay. I see a couple others in the queue. Councillor O'Toole?
Thank you much, Mayor Given. I'm in favor of Councillor Rice's concerns, and I feel with her. My concern is if we defeat this tonight, where does that set the Friendship Center, and where does it set the other 3 people that have applied for money? Does anything change? Are we going to be able to keep the Friendship Center going until we make a decision?
Mr. Roth, do you want to speak to the impact of if these recommendations were voted down?
At present, the contracts for service end June 30th, and we would have to determine if, obviously it's going to take longer than that to reissue and go forward. We would also have to determine then if we could reallocate any funding for that. Again, of course, that is up to provincial and federal funders to be able to approve that. And having said that, the other one concern with reissuing the RFP is that there could be some legal implications, which we would have to confirm with our purchasing department around that.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Thank you very much.
No. Councillor Crokin?
Thanks, Mayor Given. To Director Gary, are we at risk at all for losing any of this amount of money if we do postpone this till our next meeting or till next week?
Mr. Roth?
Your Worship, information I just received from staff is that they've been into discussion, at least at the federal government, on terms of the funding source. And the federal government says there will be no continuation in funding if it is not allocated before the contracts are due at the end of the month. So we know that one will not be able, we will not be able to proceed beyond that. There's also a risk that the provincial funding could be on the same particular issue. We just haven't received those confirmations.
Okay. Okay. Anything further, Councillor Crokin?
No, thank you, Mayor Given.
Okay. So at this point, Councillor Crokin, to get the item on for discussion, Councillor Crokin made the motion that was in our package. If anybody cared to make a tabling motion or something else, then on Councillor Crokin's motion, I think that would be appropriate now. Councillor Rice?
I move that we table these items back to administration to provide more information to council to come forward at the next meeting.
So you mean the next city council meeting?
Yes.
I wonder, Councillor Rice, I wonder if there's a way that we could make that to a council committee of the whole, or.
Sure.
I'm just concerned about the
Okay,
amount of time.
come
especially
forward
if
to a
there's-
council committee of the whole meeting.
Yeah, recognizing that council sees this as a priority, and we want to ensure that the funding isn't, okay.
And I guess I have, perhaps as part of your speaking to that motion, I would say that perhaps your report could, I'm not quite sure how there could be legal implications on something that wasn't a motion in the first place, just a recommendation. So council, has the final word. It wasn't a motion that we're rescinding, so I'd like your report to address that legal advice that seems somewhat faulty to me. Good thing Miss Howie has left. Oh,
The yeah,
Sorry.
so I think in terms of, so council, it sounds like, is looking for additional information on the process and the criteria. And I think council is feeling the need to see that. Okay, Councillor Crokin, you had discussion
Yeah.
or debate on the tabling motion.
Yes.
now, this includes
Thanks, Mayor Gibbon.
6.2 and 3.
But well, actually, we're on 9.5,
I would like to ask
2 and 3.
Director if he does happen to have us a little more information.
9.5.
Mr. Roth?
Your worship, I certainly do have more information on the process, and I can provide that to you at this time, and I might be able to answer some of your questions relating to the process of where we got to the RFP stage.
Well, what's council's wish? We have a motion on the floor to table. I think council would like additional information. We would like to have some time to consider it before making a decision. The challenge with having information presented here tonight is that council's a little bit on the spot, and ultimately when we want to make a decision with significant dollars, we want to have a little bit of a chance to consider that information. So, Mr. Roth, actually, I'm gonna say that if you have additional information, we'll save it for a report. Should be pretty easy to put together the report since you've got the information at hand. Okay, so we have a motion to table to council committee of the whole meeting. Any further discussion or debate on that motion?
Can I clarify, table to refer to council committee of the whole or refer back to CDC?
Council committee of the whole.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion or debate? Councillor Radburn?
So that goes without saying that will be done like next week or later this week, so that because we do have time
Yeah,
constraints, right?
exactly. I think that's the intent of ensuring that it goes to a council committee of the whole rather than waiting for a regularly scheduled meeting. We'll call the meeting as soon as practical, when administration is able to have the information. And so then it falls upon council members to ensure that they make themselves available for the meeting. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Councillor Crokin?
Our switches seem to work. Do I have to pull my motion off the table?
No, this is
Or-
a tabling motion, and
Okay.
so it's taking your motion and saying, we're going to move it over to here, and we're going to talk about it there and get more information.
Thank you very much.
Okay? Okay, thanks very much. So any further discussion or debate on Councillor Rice's tabling motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. So the consideration of 9.5.2, the Federal Homelessness Partnering Strategy funds, and 9.5.3, the Outreach and Support Services Initiative funds, will be referred to a council committee of the whole meeting where all of council will hear from administration in depth on the procedure and the criteria, so council can make an informed decision about what direction they wish to take. So council is not making a decision tonight. We've asked for this to go back to another meeting, and we've asked administration to come forward with all the details so that we can understand the issue. Council has decided to do that rather than waiting for a regularly scheduled meeting. We're asking administration to do that as soon as possible. Okay, so for those that were in attendance tonight, that's sort of the synopsis of what's happened. A decision hasn't been made at this point, but what we've said is we hear the concern and we wish to get more information on the process so that we can understand the issue and make an informed decision. Okay? Okay, so we'll move on to 9.5.4, Grand Prairie Sports Tourism Strategy. Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I move council approve the Grand Prairie Sport Tourism Strategy as presented.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the sports tourism strategy? Councillor McLean.
Councilor Crokin, I believe this is a good initiative, but when it does come on, it'll be about
Councillor McLean, your microphone went off.
be about $100,000 more a year for this committee.
Councillor
I just have to ask our director. I'm not sure on that, Councillor McLean.
Mr. Roth, would you care to
For
speak to that?
staff.
Your worship, at present, our intent is, we have a 3-year budget, of course, that's in set, and our intent is to work within that budget to use existing resources to try to fulfill that mandate. At that time, when it comes to the next round of budget discussions, it would be, of course, up to council's decision as to whether it be funded or not.
Okay, thanks very much. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I just want to speak, as I said at committee, this, I believe, is good work. It has taken into account a number of factors, has some goals, has some actions, has a tentative budget, and really that what we heard at committee was that we would move forward with this given the resources we now have. And so part of the process prior to the next funding cycle would be how successful have we been in gleaning other sources of revenue for this. So there may be some monies that council will have to look at budget, but I think that we're on the right track. It's about, and we can get, with our present resources, staffing, we can get people together to start talking as a sport council so that we're more coordinated, we're more collaborative, and we work together even better than we are now. So I think that that is, for me, a main focus. We have some time of staff to move forward, but it's about getting people together, looking to see what we can do, looking to see what further resources we need, looking to see where we can find those resources in addition to the city. And in due course, I guess, in a couple of years, then we'll have a formal request. But in the interim, let's get going. Let's get people, let's capitalize on the discussion and the focus groups we've had so we can move forward with this initiative. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Radburn. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I will be voting in favor of this motion. It's been a long time coming for me. It's faster we do this, the quicker and easier it will be to host some big events around the city. Grand Prairie breeds a lot of athletes over the years, and we've a lot of successful athletes have made it to the big show out of Grand Prairie, and I encourage council to put this together and move forward.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I think it's a good idea, but I'm just bringing it up because I do chair a pursuit of excellence, which is dwindling away, and we have one avenue there where the money is depleting. And then from the Arctic Winter Games, we put there, they said, okay, we'll designate that in pursuit of excellence, but $300,000 for regional events and everything like that. So it's nice, but we're just seem to be adding something else while others are going to be depleting and maybe non-existent if something's done. So I like the idea, but it seems like we're adding and adding. So.
Councillor Crokin.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I do like that idea of adding and adding and adding. It's an economic development driver for the city of Grand Prairie. And being the small A and ambassador, that I appreciate the strategy that was brought forward to our committee meeting. And just prior to a few of the other things in the meeting, we had a presentation by Disc Golf that are going to be bringing new players and a new game to the city of Grand Prairie. So if we have a strategy, I do believe that enhances it.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any further discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. On to item 9.5.5, policy 208-1. Councillor Crokin.
You can. Thank you, Mayor Given. I move that council approve policy 208-1, amendments to the Crystal Center box office advance of tickets proceeds policy.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Rice.
I cannot believe this. And I hate to be repetitive, and I am going to move that this be tabled back to administration. We have many, many concert promoters, all of whom asked us to review this policy, so we did, and guess what? We didn't even acknowledge them in this amendment. This is sanctioned bodies, sports bodies that have to, this would, God himself couldn't qualify under this amendment to the policy, which is, you want us to amend the policy? Well, there you go. It's, I'm sorry. I get so angry when I look. This defies the original intent that we asked administration to review, and I'm going to move this be tabled back to administration. I urge council, do not vote for this. As I say, it is so far off the reason it came forward and that we asked administration to review that I cannot believe it.
Okay, so Councillor Rice, your motion to table is
Yes.
is completely in order, of course. Any discussion or debate on the motion to table? Any discussion or debate? Councillor Rice, is there a specific area, so we're just sending it back to administration to do, like, I guess we, if we don't give them some direction, then they're going to come back with the same thing.
Well,
What do we
okay,
want different?
the direction is, the scope, it must be organized, it must be an organization. It must book the Crystal Center for a minimum of 10 days. I don't know about the minimums of 750,000 in gross ticket proceeds, but certainly we didn't intend it to be, and these would be, with a sanctioning ability, says it's some kind of a sporting organization. This doesn't, we sell tickets for way more than events being held at the Crystal Center, and that's where this started. So those, and I don't know how many events that we sold tickets for in the last 2 years that generate a minimum of $750,000. I don't know. I'd like to take a look at those three things.
Okay. So some further context. Any discussion or debate on the motion to table this back to administration? And I'm sorry, it's not a, it shouldn't be a tabling motion.
Referral.
Refer back to administration for details on those specific areas. A tabling motion is a motion that we send it back to council. Council would deal with the issue at another time.
Okay.
So any discussion or debate on Councillor Rice's tabling motion?
Referral motion.
Yeah. After I just went through. Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Any further discussion or debate? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. So the item will be referred back to administration to provide additional detail. And we'll move on to item 9.6. Councillor Crokin. Oh, sorry, excuse me, Councillor Crokin, that was it. I meant to ask you if there's anything else that you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes.
I'm looking here, well, I tell you, these are Jeanette's notes, and I don't have that. No, there is no other motions, but I would like to highlight one thing, Mayor, is that we had Christine and the Tabono Center. That'd be it. Tabino, I'm not Italian. They did it, it's a John Howard group, and they are having on this Friday at Muskosipi Park their wind-up celebration. So I'd just like to reiterate, to invite everybody from 12:30 until 4 o'clock, I believe. I had one, it was 1 till 4, but if you get there at 12:30, you can visit with them. They did a great presentation. I was very proud of some of the stories. It was, you needed to have a little bit of this handy because it was very heartwarming. So that's everything, Mayor Gibbon.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. So we will move on to 9.6, and that was Councillor Radburn, of course, with the General Government Services Committee meeting. Councillor Radburn.
I'm going to vote against his motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. I would move council receive the minutes of the General Government Services Committee meeting held June 5th, 2012.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion on the minutes? Any errors or omissions noted? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. All in favor? Whew. Councillor Radburn. Anything you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes?
I don't think, well, just quickly, we did get an update in terms of the OSB Research and Development Commercial Business Plan that we had helped support. earlier, a few months ago. And committee, the will of committee was to get administration to look at what might be next steps in the process. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. That would finish all of our committee business, and we had no items of correspondence tonight. We had delegation business, but I believe that was addressed with Council's tabling motion. The Friendship Centre made a presentation. Councillor Rice, did you see something else there?
Well, I would move that Ms. Kennedy's presentation be received for information, and we will, I won't make it part of the motion. We'll assume that Mr. McIntyre will be following up on it. So I don't think we need to give him that direction. He bustled right over with his card, so we can assume he was serious, not just putting on a show.
Sure. Well, and sorry, yeah, I was thinking of the Friendship Centre presentation, but Ms. Kennedy's presentation for information, and additionally another thought might be our C-Click fix, which I've passed that on to our city manager. That might be a really appropriate way to give users the ability to identify challenges that they see as they come across them. So we've got some neat technology.
Our what?
Yeah, we have, the City of Grand Prairie has a service called C-Click Fix, which allows residents to identify potholes and down streetlights and that kind of thing. And it could be a neat way to give those users that see accessibility challenges that need to be fixed throughout the city a way to do it on the go. So,
Could we can we post little notices in the handy bus?
we could. That's definitely one of the things. I think one of the things that we spoke about in our motion that we passed for the municipal development plan was about identifying appropriate processes, and that's what we're going to. These are a bunch of ideas that we could use. So we have a motion to receive the presentation for information. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. And as I said before, I believe the Friendship Centre items were dealt with as they were agenda items. We had no notices of motion. And council member reports. Councilor McLean, you said you had a Community Futures report.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. Yes, from the Community Futures report, they have a Northern Alberta Youth Entrepreneurship Camp. And I just want council to know about in the city. It usually occurs every third week of August, between the 12th and 18th of August this year. It'll be attended at the Blue Lake Center, just northwest of Hinton, 25 kilometers. Why I speak to this is over the course of a 6-day camp trip for campers, and it's from kids from 12 to 15. They will be divided up into business teams, learn about importance of business planning, business names, marketing techniques, budgeting, financial management, and putting those skills to use in a number of ways. Each group came up with a business idea, perfected it, chose a business name, prepared documentation to pitch the guests of bankers. Upon completion of their pitch and receiving their operating loans, each team was charged with shopping for materials in nearby Hinton and going about the processing and where they do a business. This is very important, I think, for getting youth into entrepreneurship and growing our community, since we were considered #1 in Canada for entrepreneurship city. And as well, they lost $5,000 from one business that said we can't support it this year. But they did gain from Mac's convenience store 50-year anniversary, gave them $10,000. And the city of Grand Prairie came on board with $1,000. They're still shy, 5 or 7, but if anybody out there, and lots of them watching the program, if you can come up, go to Community Futures. This is great for youth. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Councillor McLean. I don't believe there are any other council, agency, boards, or commissions reports, and so Councillor McLean will start roundtable with you if we could. Just to put you on the spot.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. On May 30th, I attended the Grand Alliance meeting with the town of Grand Cache, and there was, I believe there was 3 of us there, the Mayor Gibbon, Councillor Radburn, and maybe myself, and a lot of the councillors from the city of Grand Cache. And they're looking at ways of us getting together and meeting, and hopefully, because a lot of people from town of Grand Cache come up here and shop and create business and help business. And they want to look at ways of helping seniors and tourism, and I think it's a good start. I think we're a really good meeting, and I look forward to further meetings with the town of Grand Cache. Also, May 30th, I attended Municipal Government Day with my children, Kenda and Kara, and job well done, Councillor O'Toole, and you did have the sunshine with you that day, so it was a very well-attended event, and the city did a great job. On June 4th, I also attended the Graffiti Wipeout Week. And as I noticed later, they're saying they're getting a handle of it, but I'm starting to see a lot pop up, and so hopefully really try to get handled. A lot of businesses, a new one, are getting a lot of spray and cultured stone, and hopefully they'll get after it. On June 4th, I also attended kickoff to Seniors Week, proclamation which Councillor Rice made, and I really was glad to go there. I gave a bunch of old pins from the city away there, and they really liked them because we changed our logo. And so now we're waiting for the new logos to come in, or maybe we got them. But I believe there was 170 or 180 individuals there, and actually Councillor Monroe was flipping burgers for Rotary. So it was actually very well done. On June 6th, I also got my vehicle tested for Environment Week, emission testing. It was held with PAZA, and it was held at the Canfor parking lot, and a lot of people were involved in it. And they said I passed with my vehicle, so that was good. And as well, I got a hold of to enroll and count me in for cancer from 35 to 69 they wanted. I was told there's a waiting list, so I had to get on the phone and phone another number, and basically they're going to send me a kit and saliva test, and then they might be coming back to Grand Prairie because it took off that well for people that didn't have cancer, and to test you, it's going to be like a 30 or 50 year study. So job well done to Grand Prairie.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Councillor Rice.
I apologize in advance. I have a rather long report, and in no particular order and not by date. I made a presentation to the Retail Market Regulated Review Committee, making the point that the regulated or default rate is necessary to control the volatility in the market. Municipal Government Day, kudos to Councillor O'Toole and the staff. How impressive it was to see that sea of blue, except of course for the multiplex, or the East Link people. Other than that, every city staff was wearing their blue t-shirts, and it was very, very impressive. As Councillor McLean pointed out, I read the proclamation for Graffiti Wipeout Week, and we saw a demonstration, and read the proclamation for Seniors Week. The packed house, as Councillor McLean said, brought opening remarks to the Alberta Council on Aging AGM that was held here in Grand Prairie. I met with the Minister of Municipal Affairs. We discussed the Offsite Levy Symposium, the Premier's Council on a new provincial municipal partnership, and as such, and we also discussed his upcoming review of the Election Act. You'll be getting a survey very soon. Please respond. It addresses such things as 4-year terms for municipal councillors and whether elections should be held in the spring or in October. Also met with the opposition party municipal affairs critic. We talked about the Local Matters campaign and its importance to municipalities. Brought opening remarks to the 26th Annual Highland Games. Extremely impressive. The McNaughton Clan Pipe Band was up from Edmonton. A very, very full day. I attended the Devon Safety Expo barbecue, the Safety Expo and barbecue at Safety City, and wouldn't be the first time I've told you how much I love Safety City. It's so cute, and it was great to see all those kids there. Want to give my congratulations to the college on the installation of the two Stuart Steinauer sculptures, Eagle Child and Sweetgrass Bear. They are both 7 feet 6 inches high if you haven't gone to see them. The Eagle Child is 5 foot in diameter, and Sweetgrass Bear, he's 6 foot 6 inches in diameter and 3 foot wide. So these are massive. And Mr. Steinauer decided he wanted them installed adjacent to a cardinal building. His other sculpture has been installed by the St. Albert City Hall, and that is another cardinal building. I want to say congratulations, and with a great bit of envy, to Al Lacusta, who was presented one of the 25-cent glow-in-the-dark dinosaur coins. I think only one that made its way to the Peace Country. The production of these is a first for the Mint. I want to say congratulations also to the Mueller family. Marge Mueller, of course, is with Native Counseling and a very, very strong community volunteer. Her daughter Kim received, now I may mess up this name, but an Esqueo Award, which recognizes Aboriginal women who have made their community a better place for the future generations. And Kim is one of 3 Mueller girls that are RCMP constables, so a very, very impressive record. I also, just some interesting facts, and I'll just very quickly go over for the street performers coming up. We have our first performer coming from Mexico and 2 performers from Ireland. It'll be the first time that they've ever been represented. 5 acts coming from Australia, 3 of which have never been here. And so that's 11 out-of-country performers, more than any another single year. In the 12-year history, we have welcomed 109 unique acts to Grand Prairie, with 63 of those coming from outside Canada. Just a very, very quick update. You know, I've been working on a proposal to convert energy efficient street lights with municipal affairs of the Department of Environment and everything, and made a presentation to Alberta Energy. There are approximately 335 street lights in the significant population centers of Alberta. That would require an estimated $40 million to replace them. However, on a per bulb basis, it is estimated that replacing a 100-watt helio bulb would save about $59 a year in operating and maintenance costs. So we were looking at a payback of about 6 years. We confirmed with Climate Change Central that these would qualify for greenhouse gas credits, and this is really positive because it makes the investment more attractive to industry and government. Next steps will be going on to draft a protocol with input from Alberta Energy and Environment and Alberta Energy, Environment, and Water, I guess is the new name, for approval by Climate Change Central. We'll be meeting with investor-owned utilities to see if they have any interest in pursuing this, and work with the Alberta Utilities Commission and the Alberta government to identify regulatory barriers and issues regarding rate of return with the AUC. So some exciting projects happening. That's my report.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. Councillor Monroe.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Attended the Municipal Government Day and just had a great time out there. My team didn't come in first. We did come in third, but I think we did come in first in one event, and that would be getting the cookie off the forehead into your mouth. And if you want to see I'm scared to see the video of that one. As well, it was really fantastic to see how many folks, residents, came out and enjoyed the barbecue. I don't think we could have had a better day, given the recent weather around here. It really did come together quite well, and nice to see everyone out there. Went to the FCM conference the weekend before last with a few of the fellow councillors there as well. Took in some really interesting I guess sessions and seminars down there. One of note was the Up and Out seminar that I think most of us went on, or a study tour that most of us went on, and it was kind of neat to see the way that Saskatoon is developing their neighborhoods. They've put a lot of thought into it, and it kind of brings back that town square feel to a certain amount of the neighborhoods. As well, I believe Councillor McLean already mentioned it, I was flipping burgers for lunch at the Golden Age Centre. Was also flipping pancakes for the PARDS fund ride that they had this past weekend. That's just an event that PARDS holds every year to raise some funds for their operations. And then, of course, was at the Devon Barbecue at the Safety City, and once again, a great crowd came out to that event as well too. Did they? Oh, okay. Neat. I took my kids to that, and they were all over going to the different kiosks and becoming safety certified on a number of things. So, and that's all I have.
Great, thanks very much, Councillor Monroe. Councillor Crokin.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. On May 30th, we had a couple of municipal government days going, and I represented the mayor and council in Fort St. John. And their mayor, Laurie, had said that the Grand Prairie councillor will help them get their own Costco. Those are her words, not mine. And I won't be helping them get their Costco. I also was at the at the FCM Saskatoon, June 1st to 5th. And I also, on June the 8th, I brought greetings from Mayor Gibbon and Council to the Relay for Life event. And very, very unfortunate that it was shut down because of the lightning and the storm. But they feel that their goal of over $500,000 will still be reached. And there was people there that came back in the morning for the final lap. So I also had attended that Evergreen tour, and it is very exciting. But Mayor Moore from the Metro Vancouver area had a really nice on Monday talk about National Zero Waste Marketing Council and some very interesting things that they're doing in Vancouver. They're talking about cradle-to-cradle products and recycle your pumpkin, which some people don't. I thought that was a really big item. A zero waste economy, that's where we're getting to. And Mayor Moore also said that there are some restaurants, and he didn't name the two countries, that if you don't eat all the meal on your plate, you get charged because it's a very big problem, the organics in landfill. I do believe we produce some gas from ours, but that was their solution to it. And there's also one other little thank you. I'd like to thank We Are a Team, and I'd like to thank the people that stayed back, Helen and Kevin and my buddy here, tall fella, for helping us out. We are a team. That'd be Alec, yeah. So thanks again. Hold the fort down while we were away. That's everything we were given.
Thanks very much, Councillor Crokin. Councillor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. I attended the Municipal Government Day event, and it was very successful, and lots of burgers and lots of fun had all day. It was pretty neat seeing the time capsule come out, and we need to go through that a little further detail. I attended the Land Use Bylaw Workshop here at City Hall. I opened a tender, believe it or not, for the new sign at the Crystal Center. So look forward to that, shining this up on Main Street. And I went to I also went to the tourism, Grand Prairie Tourism, barbecue meet and greet, and the new website launch. So you can view that on gptourism.ca. And there's all kinds of interesting information. You don't have to be a tourist to go there and find out what's going on around town. Lots of accommodations, details, campgrounds around the area, activities and events going on, news updates in and around the region, and join them on Facebook. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Councillor Gustafson. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Gibbon. It's a good thing that Councillor Rice saved some time in other roundtables so that it all works out evenly in the end. May 30th, I met with Grand Cast councillors to talk about our Grand Alliance initiative, and there will be a report coming back to GGS in terms of what a next step in that process will be. I also attended Municipal Government Day and took part in the event and also the mini competition. I think strategically it's well, first of all, I want to thank Rory. Rory, municipal intern, helped Dan, Bill, and I in our in that event, and so thank you, Rory. FCM, I did go to FCM and found it quite useful. I met with Rory as a municipal intern just to talk about the role of councillor, and then I did attend the Travel Alberta meet and greet with the operators and met the new Travel Alberta staff, and we had a operators barbecue. I attended the land use bylaw workshop number 2 on the 7th. And on the 9th, I also attended the 3rd annual Devon-sponsored Safety Expo, but it was also the ribbon cutting for the Safety City that Mayor Given participated in. And that's my 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you much, Mayor Given. On Tuesday, the 29th, I had the honor of joining a number of other colleagues in City Hall here to judge the Good Neighbor Award winners. There was 18 entries, and it was a real tough decision, so we never really gave out one. We, as if you know, on Municipal Government Day, there was a number of winners. So that was a great, interesting time listening and reading the stories. And I know that the ladies that were helping me were having a real good discussion on who could be the winners. On the 30th, Municipal Government Day, I want to thank the staff of the City of Grand Prairie for doing their job so well. The chairman of this committee is basically a token position because they do so much staff, so much work, and I don't know who turned the lights on that day, but it was a great success, and it was nice meeting representatives from the different municipalities from around Grand Prairie. We had a reception before that, and we did the menus, and we were quite successful in the wheelchair run because they was the leader, I was the captain. Not so good in the cookies. The Cookie Monster over there did a great job doing that. And 1,150 burgers I placed.
Sorry.
We have a partner here, Jeanette Ferguson. We were a team, and we can put a hot dog in a bun and a burger in a bun quicker than anybody else in this community. And we should be judged on that as well. Wiener stuffer or something like that, I guess. On the 31st, we went to the FCM. I was there. We attended many study tours and information sessions, and I had my concerns about going this year, but it turned out that I felt that it was a very informative 3 or 4 days. On the 6th, I did something I've never done before in my life. I was the drive-through person at the Tim Hortons that handed coffees. I'm not a coffee drinking person. I know a hot chocolate's a hot chocolate and you can get cream on top. But man, is there ever a selection of coffees that you can get? And I've only made a few mistakes. I also worked the front counter, but they got me out of there real quick. I want to thank Cody and Tracy and Nicole for guiding me through the 2 hours of tense training. And on the 6th, I attended the Travel Alberta Regional Tourism Barbecue and Meet and Greet and the website launch. It was a great hour or so that we got to listen to the great things that they've got going on. On the 7th, I attended the land use bylaw meeting, and on the 8th, I attended a tender opening, and I was also, later on in the day, I went to the Relay for Life, had a number of people that I sort of sponsored, and wandered around, and I was very impressed with a little boy named Josh. He's 4 years old, and he didn't walk around that track, he ran around it, and I think he ran around it for quite a long time. I want to thank, yeah, there was some concerns going on there, but I want to thank Councillor Crokin for doing such a great job on giving words from council and the mayor. On the 9th, I attended the Air Cadet Squadron Annual Inspection, 577 Royal Canadian Air Cadets. Captain Brandy Boychuk is in charge out there. Some of the items that there was many awards that were handed out. One of the things that I was impressed with most of all, as well as most other people, that there was more people that got near perfect attendance than there was that 70, 80, and 90% plus. And they had like 40 people out of that group that got near perfect attendance. So it shows something for the leadership there and the determination of the youth that they want to be there. And it really was a real eye-opener. And we got to see the precision drill team, did a fantastic job, and the marching band. And once again, they won some major awards throughout Alberta this year. And it was held at the Stars Hangar, and I want to thank Stars for letting that take place there. It was a fantastic event, and that's my report.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. So I'll try to be brief in my report. I also attended the meeting of the Grand Alliance with our partners from Grand Cache, looking to see how we can further that partnership. And then later on that day, of course, I attended with the rest of Council Municipal Government Day, and I just want to say, add my thanks to all the city volunteers, all the staff that were there, flipping burgers, manning booths, and ensuring that the public had a good time. We really appreciate the work that our staff do. We appreciate the fact that the public come out in droves when we give them free food, but come out in droves to learn about city services and explore the different services that the city offers. I also attended the FCM conference, as was mentioned by a number of council members. The highlight for me was the launch of FCM's Target 2014, which highlights the fact that 1/3 of federal funding will expire in 2014 when the Build Canada program ends. So FCM is targeting 2014 to ensure that there's a new agreement in place to ensure that there's ongoing support for municipalities from the federal government. If my memory serves, that's a couple $2 billion that would be lost to municipalities when that program ends. So it's certainly a priority item for the City of Grand Prairie, and I'm very pleased to see that FCM is focused on that. I also, back in Grand Prairie on the 6th, had the pleasure of attending 2 citizenship ceremonies where nearly 200 new Canadians received their papers. I had the pleasure of greeting each one of them and saying, "Welcome, fellow Canadian." Grand Prairie Regional College hosts this every year, and certainly appreciate the fact that the college does that. And appreciate the fact that there are so many people that are choosing to call Canada home, and it was an honor and a pleasure to be able to join them there that day. I also attended the information workshop on the land use bylaw, and on Friday the 8th of June, I was back down in Edmonton for a Northern Alberta Mayors and Reeves Caucus meeting hosted by Mayor Mandel of the City of Edmonton. We had the opportunity to hear from the Minister of Municipal Affairs, who presented to the group and took questions. We also discussed Northern Alberta growth issues and heard some presentations from Tourism Edmonton and Tourism Jasper, who are partnering. It was interesting to hear the Tourism Jasper Executive Director speak, because she identified that Jasper is looking for partners. They know that they have a great asset and what they call an export-ready market, marketable materials in terms of product. They've got great mountains and they've got stuff that's ready to go, but that they need to partner to make sure that the international visitors are getting there. When she spoke about partnering with Edson and Hinton and Grand Cache and Edmonton. And so I had a chance to speak with her and follow up and say that, you know what, there's a pretty logical extension to that, considering that we've got an airport at one end, so you could see somebody flying into Edmonton, going to Jasper through up to Grand Cache and flying out of Grand Prairie eventually. So highlighted that, and look forward to meeting with some Travel Alberta officials later on this week to make that point as well. I also attended the Devon Canada barbecue and the ribbon cutting for the Grand Prairie and Area Safe Community, Safety City. I want to thank Stuart Wilson, who had been heading up that project since its inception. And basically for my entire time on council, he's been heading that up, and often you see dedication in the community, but I'm not sure that you see a decade of dedication to one project like Stuart has had. And so my congratulations go to Stuart and the entire team there, and also to our city staff. I mentioned at the ribbon cutting, like our Protective Services Director, Bill Walker, who was vital in arranging the deals that managed to find some land for Safety City, and that was not a simple undertaking. And with that, that's all I have to report, and we'll adjourn our council meeting. Thank you very much.